Hello, I'm Kate Peck and welcome to round 5 of the Penrite ProMX Championship presented by AMX Superstores. And hallelujah, we are back in the city of churches, Gillman in South Australia. A quick drive from the heart of Adelaide at a track that holds many fond memories for riders young and old, like 11-time National Motocross champion Lee Hogan.
Thank you. Yes, it's a fantastic place here. Many fond memories, and wow, there's some history at this place.
Yeah, so Lee, we've had a pretty solid, clean round of racing at Maitland. We've passed the halfway mark and it's getting pretty hot at the front of MX1. Dean Ferris took a clean sweep of Maitland and took the championship lead.
He sure did. Now, Ferris is looking dangerous. He's fast, he's consistent, but I think the biggest problem for his competitors is his starts. When they're on point, he's almost unbeatable, and they're on point at the moment.
All right, well, let's take a look at the Michelin track preview with yourself and expert commentator Danny Ham.
Welcome to this week's Michelin track preview. Round 5 here at Gillman. We're presented with a track that is very sandy. Much like we saw last year, the track surface is just beautiful to ride on. However, the real talking point at the moment is simply the amount of water this track has already been exposed to. A lot of rain has fallen, and already you get to see little glimpses of exactly how bad this track could get. Right here, we are standing on the start line, probably the worst part of the track at the moment. The riders, every time the gate will drop, are going to be tested as they launch out the gate. And if we get more of this rain, this particular part of the track could become a quagmire. So it's going to show the importance of getting yourself out to a good jump off the start so you get some clean air, clean track, and get a good position in that opening lap. Right here you can see exactly just how much water is laying around. They've even had the pumps out, literally trying to clear this particular part of the track. Being so low, it pools up massively. So there's going to be a lot of water lying around this area. But as you can see just behind me, the track is fantastic past this point. The rest of the surface is quite hard, quite sandy, and has really absorbed all the water that is thrown down on it so far. So rest of the track, fantastic. This particular part, this is going to be struggle street.
The legacy continues here at Gillman in what I believe was the best prepared track in the 2022 ProMX season. Now, it's the little things that make the difference, and they've got ex-professional racer Shane Metcalf on the committee here. He was out yesterday swinging off the shovel, helping to make things look the way they do at the moment. If you have a look over my shoulder, you can see a prime example in Michelin Corner and what I believe is some amazingly well manicured sections of the track. This berm that sits roughly 1 metre high but has a good solid base behind it, designed to not blow out so easily as your traditional berms. As we keep walking down here and we have a little bit of a look, the MRA club here at Gillman have raised every single part of the track a good 300 to 400 mil higher than the base level that the ground's supposed to be. And as you can see behind me, water either side on what Danny Ham has named the Gillman Island. A fantastic job, and of course a testament to the club and their preparation for this event.
Whether it is the mud off the start or the lakes on the side of the track, the opening laps of these races are going to be exciting. The track right now, as we said, is absolutely perfect. However, if we do get that predicted rain, it's really going to challenge all of these riders and absolutely make it essential for them to get themselves out to a great start. And that there is this week's Michelin track preview.
I'm with Penrite Go 24 Racing Brett Metcalf, hometown hero. Brett, you didn't have to come far for this round. It's so good to have ProMX back at South Australia.
Yeah, I'm stoked. I mean, I woke up at home this morning, no travel this week, so it makes a difference. But I love coming here to Gillman. I think the crowd is going to be huge. Like last year was massive for me. I had a great day. Trying to replicate that. And yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I know, I could hear them coming. When you came across the finish line last year, I was like, whoa! But we know it's going to be smashed out there. How about in here? You've got a full house this weekend.
Yeah, I do. We got pretty much everyone on display this weekend. So I'm excited. This is really, I've been waiting for this event, you know, so we've got an MX2 rider, Mitch Norris, MXW, Taja Morris, MX3, Will Carpenter, and myself in MX1. So we've got all classes covered. Penrite, Go24 Racing, we're covered out there all day, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, you know this track like the back of your hand. You shone last year. Can you take another win and a podium, maybe 2 wins this time? Perfect weekend.
I would love to. You know, I've been working on starts. We've made improvements with the bike. I'm really feeling positive about tomorrow, so looking forward to it.
All right, good luck out there, Brett. Can't wait to see how you go.
Thanks.
Well, Gillman, what a beautiful place it is, not far from the city centre of Adelaide. Now, Danny Ham, let's take a quick look at the Thor Championship points. MX1, Dean Ferris on top with 145 from Jed Beaton, 136.
Back to Tanti, 119 Gibbs, 119 also Clout, 114. So tight between a lot of these top runners. There's not much gap between first and second either. And with the way that Beaton has been riding today, I feel that he may have the slight upper hand leading into Moto number 1 today.
Now, hometown hero Brett Metcalf down there in 8th place in the championship, and Kate just had a little bit of a chat with him there. I tell you what, wouldn't it be great to see him up on the podium for his first podium of the season?
It'd be so good. I just remember last year, the crowd getting in behind him, the excitement that was brought by Metcalf running up there. But I tell you, looking at this start gate and what we've already seen today, the prime position is right up the inside, and Kyle Webster was our fastest out there, who currently sits up the inside. Beaton was second fastest, along with Luke Clout, Aaron Tanti and Dean Ferris after they finished the Super Pole.
Now, every single hole shot has come from that grid 1 up the inside so far today, Danny. Now, can that tradition stay true here with Kyle Webster? Also, we'll have to wait and see. We got Joel Evans, Max Purvis, Liam Jackson, Regan Duffy there, 14th fastest.
And the board is already up, so we are only just moments away. 5-second board is now up. The riders are getting ready for Moto number 1 of the Thor MX1 class. They launch out again to the inside. What a start. Gate number 1, you don't want to be anywhere else.
It cannot go wrong. Gate number 1 today. We've had carnage and riders going through the AMX Superstores banner on the exit of that first turn. But it is a Honda coming out in first place at the exit of turn 1. And that looks to be Kyle Webster.
Webster it is in front of Clout. Tanti back there in 5th, Gibbs 2nd, Waters 3rd, as we see Tanti trying to go around the outside. The other big name that we needed to mention, Beaton, he is back there in 8th place as we look for the rest of the riders to come through. The 100% whole shot award going to Kyle Webster.
Oh, and rider getting exceptionally sideways looked to be one of their CDR Monster Energy Yamaha riders as Max Purvis trying to go around the outside. We see Kirk Gibbs on the factory KTM, but there, number 4, Luke Clout, and his teammate right behind him. But already, have a look at the gap there that we just saw from Kyle Webster, already checked out 2.5 seconds.
The New Zealand boys there in Max Purvis and Hamish Harwood, the 153 we saw a moment ago making a pass on Waters. They're battling it out, and the positions change just there, 5th and 6th place. There was Metcalf also on screen, so all the big hitters are up there. At the back of this quadruple riders is the 14, though, of Jed Beaton, who was the fastest, and Dean Ferris. We haven't even mentioned Dean Ferris, the championship leader. So 1st and 2nd in the championship, back there in 9th and 10th.
Yeah, so a little ways back there, it's saying here, yeah, Jed Beaton 9th, Ferris 11th place, so not even in the top 10. We take a quick look at Todd Waters here on the TW Husqvarna machine. And he's doing a fantastic job likewise, but he wants to try to get up a little bit further towards that pointy end of the field. Kyle Webster 2.6 seconds ahead of Luke Clout.
Outside, Yamaha down, that was Clout. Clout goes down in that right hand on the outside, so he will drop back up very quickly, though. He is in behind Gibbs, only dropped a couple of places, but very vital places at that. And I did want to mention, we were back on a shot a second ago with Ferris and also Metcalf. Metcalf has passed Ferris. Ferris not looking quite as comfortable as we're used to seeing, but I did get a chance to speak to him in the break. He said, yep, they had a slightly wrong setting of the bike that made the changes with the clickers, so expect to see him start to find form. How's Purvis? Around the outside of Clout.
Amazing line now, tipping it in from the outside. That's a gutsy move around the outside of the former champion, Luke Clout.
Purvis almost with a big in-swinger. We've seen a few moments on that particular double as he looks to the outside here of Gibbs, squaring to the inside again. Purvis is flying at the moment.
Have a look at these straight line ruts, and this drone shot shows exactly how tough the track is for these riders, and we've seen so many little sideways kicks out to the side. We've seen a couple of crashes so far in the first half of the day.
The lead stretching out for first. Tanti in second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, and ninth. All of these riders in contention to get up there and make some passes and move forwards. Have a look at Gibbs.
Yeah, so vision, what's he got going on there? We don't have tear-offs today. Is that roll-offs flapping out the back of his helmet there?
You would have to think so. At early stages of this race, that is a bad thing to have happen to you. You lose vision very quickly. You see the 145 of Purvis working on the back wheel of Gibbs. Can he make this pass? He needs to make it nice and early and try and keep that momentum going forwards, but Gibbs is looking strong also.
Looks very comfortable on the bike as things start to settle down ever so slightly in the early stages here of Thor MX1 Moto #1. 25 minutes plus a lap, the duration for this first race, and likewise for the second Moto. No back-to-backs today here at Gillman.
I did get a chance to talk to Webster between the motos as well. And he said he is feeling super comfortable, and it shows with the lap times. Oh, look at this, Beaton, one of our fastest riders also in the shootout, is starting to move forwards, working on the back wheel of Clout. Clout covering that line, but Beaton is looking very strong at the moment. Quick clear of those goggles, Lee, and I think we may see more of a charge out of the Honda rider.
Now, Danny, what a rebound this is for Kyle Webster, who at the last round at Maitland, he had to not be able to race the final race due to a rock hitting his arm and splitting it wide open. He had a massive hole which required surgery. It had to be stitched from the inside, not the outside. Had a bit of a chat to Kyle a couple of days ago. He was blown away that he was able to get back onto the bike only a couple of days later. So he's had a good week and a half back on the motorcycle. And as we can see at the moment, super comfortable in these conditions.
Yeah, that was a nasty and a really weird injury to have. It's sort of something we have not seen before, as we see Ferris working to the inside there of Metcalf. And he has made the pass go. Oh, Metcalf doesn't want to give it up just yet. But Ferris now looks like he's starting to find his feet a little more comfortable than we saw earlier on.
And this is the championship battle right here. And I know we look back to, what are we? We are 6th and 7th place now. But this is 1st and 2nd in the championship. Our current championship points leader trying to go around the outside of Jed Beaton and try to pounce on the Honda rider before he gets the chance to settle too much into this race.
Like we've mentioned many times before, and he confirmed it when I spoke to him earlier, the qualifying times, he's never too concerned about it. However, there was something that he did pick up as far as, yeah, I see it, as far as the bike setup. And they've obviously made those changes to be a bit more comfortable, but yeah, he is certainly starting to find his feet, that bike of Metcalf's.
Yeah, so the smoke coming out the back of Metcalf's bike. Now, all three of the KTMs that we've seen start to smoke, correct me if I'm wrong, Danny Ham, but started from that part of the track. Exactly the same. Let's go down to Kate.
Just got an update from Dean Ferris's mechanic. He got a good jump out of the gate, but did a bit of a wheelie, lost a bit of speed, got followed up at turn 1, and that's probably why we have seen him so far back.
Okay, so Dean Ferris, 32-year-old out of Kyogle in New South Wales. The Kyogle kid, here's our current championship points leader, hence that red background. And what a comeback it has been throughout the COVID period. Danny Ham had 4 vertebrae in his back fused, and he has come back, and look at what he is doing now. Now, he's had a couple of returns to racing, but what a year he's having. A little bit of an in-swinger there for the Yamaha.
It's scaring us more than it's scaring the riders by the looks of it. We've seen that happen so many times, but they seem to just ride out of it with no concern. But you're right, he is starting to look a lot better right now. The bike is settled a bit more than what we saw in the shootout. So whatever the changes they made were, it seems to have gone into the right direction. And right now, we've seen this many times before. Ferris sits back there, starts to find form, finds the lines, and then creeps forward, picking off the riders one by one. And it almost looks like that's what we're about to see.
Now, as we have a look on the Thor MX1 leaderboard on the left-hand side of the screen, we can see that Kyle Webster only has a 2.7-second gap now over Aaron Tanti. Now, last lap time for Tanti was a 2:04.5, so very impressive. Now, let's revisit last year's race here, which was the turning point for Tanti. The whole team rallied behind him in the weeks leading up to the Gillman round, and when he came out here, he was a different rider. He believed in himself. He finished both of the races strong. He came out on top with the win, but that set the season for the rest for him, didn't it?
He'd be looking to repeat that right now, and I can tell you he has gone quicker again over the last lap than our race leader, as we see Beaton working to the outside of Clout. It's going to be a big move. Oh, he almost tucked the front wheel.
Well, he made the pass, though. So what happened to Luke Clout there in the corner? It was he had a couple of goes at the corner, almost lost the front, like you mentioned, but came out on top in that little altercation.
Yeah, interesting to see that Clout dropped back a little bit there, but Beaton had plenty of pressure going on. So Beaton moves up one more position now, sits there in 5th place. Purvis is in front as we see Clout now having to contend with the 111 machine of Dean Ferris. Ferris, as we said, starting to find that form, and we've seen it over the previous rounds, especially if he hasn't started at the front. Later in the race, when he starts to feel more and more comfortable, he starts to just pick them off. Do you think we'll see the same thing again in this one, Lee?
Look, I think time will tell. Just a couple of little foot dabs there for Dean Ferris. And one thing I can tell you is he'll be getting frustrated watching his arch rival start to pull away from him, who has leapfrogged past Luke Clout. So Ferris will be starting to think, I need to make my move now. This is one of the rare occasions when we can see mistakes or little crashes from Dean Ferris. He hasn't got one of his traditional good starts, and it's on a track where he didn't qualify very well. Now he's had another one of those in-swinger moments here. Now what does he do? Does he try to fight through this and try to pick up that pace as Metcalf is all over the back of the 111 machine?
Yeah, he changed again into defensive mode just there with Metcalf. So it will be interesting to see how this does play out over the next couple of laps, and I feel that that will tell the story in the next couple of laps as to what was happening. Have a look at outside. So yeah, what a kick. That was a very lucky, not so much a save, but a lucky situation. He managed to hold on to it pretty strong, but that could have been very, very bad. But again, he is right onto the back wheel of Luke Clout.
Yeah, just like that. It didn't take too long, and that's showing the lap time speed for him. And I like how he's getting out to the extremities of the track. He's really going from one side to the other. Once again, here, right off to the right-hand side. So he's getting really creative with his lines here. Beautiful line there that potentially, it only took a tiny little mistake from Clout and he would have been able to make a pass right there.
Well, outside here could swing around. If Clout doesn't get the run through here, then there is a good chance that Ferris pulls alongside and makes the pass. So Ferris read that one beautifully. He has got himself up one more position.
Beautiful slingshot around the corner, but very nice scrub and staying low on that jump. So he's kind of going through some mental battles at the moment in this race of trying to find form, isn't he? He's having certain parts of the race where it doesn't look quite like himself, and then boom, just a bit of brilliance like that. So he only needs to throw together a few laps like that, and he could find himself back onto the rear end of Jed Beaton. 8 minutes to go, plus a lap here at Gillman. We're in Thor, MX1, Moto1, and Kyle Webster continues to lead. He has stretched the gap out to 6 seconds now over Aaron Tanti, and just 3.6 seconds back to Gibbs. These top three doing exceptionally well at the moment.
I was going to say just a second ago, Lee, that I'm keeping an eye on that gap between Tanti and Gibbs, because Gibbs closed it down quite considerably the lap prior to this one. Maybe there's a lapper involved in that, but maybe Gibbs has found the bit between his teeth as well. Maybe he is going to start moving forwards. As we look back at Max Purvis here, the 145, he's dropped Beaton.
He has now. I'm interested to see just how far. Okay, so from this drone shot, we can see just coming through the roller section and veering to the right, Dean Ferris has edged up even closer now. It's almost a similar gap from Purvis back to Beaton that it is from Beaton to Ferris. So I honestly think that Beaton has lost a little bit of that rhythm, and it's not going to be too long until the Honda rider and the 111 machine of Ferris start their own little battle.
he's certainly going to have to regroup and start moving forwards. There is Ferris, the 111 machine, around the outside of that lapped rider. Still looking very strong, like we expect out of Dean Ferris, especially as we get to the later parts of these motos. But all three riders well within the screen here, and it's still very close between all three of them. So those final few places there, 4th, 5th and 6th, are certainly not decided just yet. Top of screen there was the gap between Tanti and Gibbs as well, so that has still maintained that 3-second lead, but Beaton really does have to turn it on right now, Lee.
Now, for some of our viewers at home, Danny, that might be watching, and to the naked eye, sometimes it looks as if a rider might not be in the best shape, and we see at this stage of the race, 6 minutes plus a lap to go, and it looks like they might start to fade. A lot of the time, it's not necessarily a fitness thing. It could be they've lost their rhythm, and they're just starting to pump up. Let's go to Kate.
Just an update from Craig Dack from CDR Yamaha Monster Energy on Luke Clout. He's not sure that it is arm pump. He said that you need to ride this track aggressively and that Luke might have gone a little too hard too early.
Yeah, good point there, and that's exactly what we were saying, Lee, with a track like this. If you push too hard and you start to get out of that comfort zone and the bike starts to step around a little bit more than you expected, if you're not comfortable with that bike moving around, like we've mentioned earlier on, then you are going to tighten up and absolutely fight the bike. So a good call there, maybe just a little bit too hard early on, needed to ride into the moto a little bit before he brought that intensity in. But certainly the guy on screen, the 111 machine, is pushing forward. But so is this guy, Metcalf. He hasn't slowed down at all. He is matching the times of the boys in front of him. He's actually faster than, well, every single rider in front of him on that last lap.
Great job. He's such a hard worker, and if you're ever going to see the best out of him, I tell you what, the way to bring the best out of him is to get in front of the hometown crowd. If you remember, you scan your memory back to this time last year when he was on the podium, how emotional he was to get so close to winning the overall. He's just got the biggest fan base in the whole country, but when you get him at home here in Gillman, it's just incredible.
He looks very comfortable at the moment, sliding through those left-handers and dropping back into the main arena here. Fantastic viewing here for the live crowd, the people that come out and experience motocross live. It's exactly, you know, you could sit here at home and watch it on TV and it's all good, but you don't have the atmosphere. You don't get the vibe, the sound, the crowd getting in behind, especially a rider like this. When they get behind the rider and you hear it, it is just a different experience to be there live at the track.
Some great sights on screen at the moment, but also on the Thor leaderboard on the left, we can keep tabs and see Gibbs is just 1.6 seconds behind Tanti, and likewise, we've got Ferris 1.2 seconds behind Beaton, so there's some really good battles going on out there on the track.
Yeah, there's some thick lapped riders as well there. Top of screen, these boys are actually closing down on Gibbs and Tanti as well. We got 3 minutes now. I don't believe they're going to catch up to there, but they certainly are starting to close in just a little bit. 3-second difference in the lap times that last lap around for 1st, 2nd and 3rd compared to 4th, 5th and 6th. That's crazy.
Well, Max Purvis, Jed Beaton and Dean Ferris are hauling at the moment, and 2:11 lap times for Kyle Webster, Aaron Tanti and Kirk Gibbs, and you called it, Danny. Max Purvis at 2:08, Jed Beaton at 2:09, Dean Ferris at 2:08. So these guys are flying, and we have still got, let's say, 3 minutes 20. We have got, okay, so
there's a change there on our leaderboard. Metcalf in front of Ferris. So there it is on screen. There's Metcalf. Is that Metcalf there yet? Yeah, that's Metcalf. So where did Ferris go?
Yeah, but I can't see the battle with Purvis and Beaton there. So I'm going to predict that things are still the same as they were, but I may be wrong. Let's wait till we'll confirm that in a second. Things continue to be the same.
Yep, there's Ferris behind.
Right, okay, so something has happened. Something's gone wrong for the 111 machine. Things continue to be the same for Kyle Webster with a 5.8 second lead over Aaron Tanti back there in 2nd place, who's consolidated his 2nd place over Kirk Gibbs and holds down a 2-second gap there.
So yeah, there is Ferris. Look just in front of him. They look to be lapped riders. It's not Beaton there. No, that's a lapped rider. So yeah, certainly he has dropped back off them. So even more importance now for Jed Beaton to step up and make these passes, because he's got the opportunity to really gain a good amount of points in this championship on Dean Ferris. So, yeah, not sure what happened there. He hasn't lost that much ground, so it must have been a very basic tip over, if that, if not just a stall or something. He didn't lose too much, but certainly lost a couple of places.
Yeah, he won't be happy with that. And Jed Beaton, this is his time to make up some points. A little bit loose there for Dean Ferris. Championship points, as we see at the moment, provisional, of course. Dean Ferris continues to lead with 159, but Beaton will close it up to a 7-point gap with 152. And Tanti back there within striking range, still well and truly in this hunt with 141.
And if Beaton can make this pass, that's another 2 points. It brings back to 5 points. And then all of a sudden we're back on with this championship. Let's head down to Cape.
Spoke to Dean Ferris's mechanic as to why he's lost time, and he apparently dropped it in the corner before the tabletop. His mechanic didn't actually see it, but that's what he heard.
Okay, so little tip over there for Dean Ferris. That totally explains what happened. It's so easy to do on a track like this. I tell you what would be easy to do, Danny, is an in-swinger off one of these rutted takeoff ramps as you're slightly turning. It's the one in the middle of the track coming out of the right-hander that we've seen so many people have close calls on today.
Aaron Tanti in second place. He has managed to stretch that gap back out over Kirk Gibbs. So this is a good, solid ride. Exactly what he needed to do to rebound from those other rides that we saw at Maitland, where he was up there contending for that lead. And then, unfortunately, by the end of it, we saw Luke Cloud managing to challenge and pass. So this is a much stronger ride, a track that I'm sure he enjoys here at Gillman. It's 7 seconds back. However, Moto number 1, second place, as good as a first if he can go out and win the next race.
So I know he's 7 seconds behind Kyle Webster, Danny, but he is making up some very important championship points on his main contenders for the championship. Aaron Tanti must really like coming here to Gillman. Those the tear-offs or roll-offs just continuing to flap out the back of Kirk Gibbs' helmet at the moment.
There's one thing that Nathan Crawford said to me in the break is he said you can't just sit there on the back wheel of someone. You do eat that much roost. So him sitting back here, obviously he's not going to wear it right now, but if he was sitting right there on the back wheel of Tanti, without those tear-offs that we see flying, he certainly would have lost that vision pretty early.
Now, Danny, Jed Beaton has made the move on Max Purvis. He's moved his way up into 4th place, and in doing so, will gain an extra 2 points over the 111 machine of Dean Ferris. So things looking up for the Boost Mobile Honda team at the moment, with great championship points for Jed Beaton. And, of course, you can't do much better than Kyle Webster at the moment. 7 seconds ahead of our reigning champ.
What a ride it has been for Webster. Fastest in the pole shootout earlier on. Grabs himself a perfect starting position, puts himself up front, clean track, and has absolutely stretched that lead out and managed to control it from here. 7 seconds has pretty much stayed the same the entire race. He's in a position where he can back it down a little bit and then also attack if he needs to. If they start to close down that gap just a little bit, he has some room to move with. Well, we're on the very last lap now. This is going to be a great win for him.
What a ride it has been for Kyle Webster as he tips it into the left-handed turn. The last of the elevated section, makes his way towards this beautiful tabletop, jumping down the hill. Makes a right-hander into Alpine Stars turn, and another tabletop. Some great air time here. Final lap coming through. Has not put a foot wrong as Kyle Webster, number 96, on the Boost Mobile Honda.
Into Michelin turn, the right-hander just passing one of the lap riders. He has done everything right this moto. I spoke to him before and he sounded so calm and collected before going into this race. So this here will certainly turn that confidence up just to level 10 right now as he goes towards the finish line and will collect the win for Moto number 1. Fantastic effort.
Great ride for Kyle Webster. I tell you what, team manager Yuriv Konski will be over the moon with that. Second place coming through, Aaron Tanti on board the CDR Monster Energy Yamaha machine. Kirk Gibbs comes through in 3rd place, and Jed Beaton with fantastic points there for the championship haul in 4th place.
There is Ferris coming across to finish off his race. Not the race that he had liked, I'm sure, but he will rebound as we would expect in the second moto.
Yeah, what a terrific job here for everyone in the Thor MX1 Moto #1. As the remainder of our riders come through, we just saw on screen there Todd Waters on board the T-Dub Raceline Husqvarna machine. A couple of our lap riders coming through there. We see number 49, that's Cody O'Lone. And unfortunately there, Luke Clout, not the race that he would have preferred there in 11th place. Let's take a look at the results. MX1, Moto #1, thanks to Thor. Kyle Webster with the win. Back to Aaron Tanti in 2nd place. Kirk Gibbs in 3rd place. Jed Beaton in 4th. Max Purvis rounding out the top 5. Brett Metcalf there in 6th place. And of course, Dean Ferris, our championship leader there in 7th place. Luke Clout just outside of the top 10 in 11th. Zachary Watson there in 12th. Liam Jackson 13th. We've got Levi Rogers, Luke Zelensky, Joel Evans, Regan Duffy back there in 17th, and Dylan Wood there in 18th place. Cody O'Lone, Joel Sigliano, Riley Stevens, the list of names goes on. Our MX1 riders, what a fantastic job. Let's go down to Kate.
Kyle Webster, P1 on the Honda. After arm surgery, you're absolutely unbeatable out there. It's so good to see you back in P1 after a first tough start to the season.
Yeah, definitely. It feels nice to be back here. I feel like I've been in this position to be here a couple of times, but just let it slip. So it was nice to, I guess, finish the whole race off and finish up top.
All right, congratulations. We'll see you in the next moto.
Thank you.
We're only moments away from the drop of the gate of the Thor MX1 Moto #2. Can Kyle Webster come up trumps once again? He was certainly on fire in that first moto.
So fast, so confident, so strong as we look at the Thor MX1 lineup. Moto #2, of course, Kyle Webster, Jed Beaton, Luke Clout, Aaron Tanti, Dean Ferris, first 5 in qualifying.
Brett Metcalf there, just outside of the top 5. Hamish Harwood, Kirk Gibbs, Jai Walker coming off state title final round victory at Queensland last weekend against some very, very big names, Danny Ham.
This is going to be interesting, isn't it? The way the first race unfolded to us. It's all about the start. We've seen it all day long. Webster, Beaton in the prime positions. The 2 Yamahas just to the outside of them also got themselves a good start. Final race of the day here at Gillman. Who was going to get the whole shot in this one? And Webster again with a good start.
Brilliant jump out of the gate from Webster. Likewise from Luke Clout up the inside, who will lock down 2nd place out of turn 1, but it looked to be Jed Beaton in 3rd place. So all the likely candidates, and a great run up the inside from Beaton. Will he slot into? Yes, he does. So it's Honda 1-2 back to Luke Clout in 3rd. And it looks like a different Dean Ferris back in 4th place. The 100% whole shot going to Kyle Webster for the 2nd time in a row today.
I saw Tanti back there in 8th place, even further back from that. Kirk Gibbs 16th across the first timing loop. So he has got a hell of a lot of work ahead of him after such a good performance in Moto #1. The 12 there, Daroch is up there as well. What a good start for him in 4th place, battling it out there with Tanti. Well, there's that 5th place at the moment. There is Tanti now moved into 5th. The rest of the field, Waters up the inside.
Now, Danny, we're going to have to keep close tabs on Dean Ferris, the 111 machine on the Brisbane Motorcycles Yamaha, because oh, wow, what a move from Luke Clout up the inside as Dean Ferris is trying to round up the fellow Yamaha rider and slide his way into 3rd place. That could have very easily have come unstuck for both of those boys.
Oh, unstuck, all right.
And he's down.
That started from just before that jump. It was unsettled going up to the jump and just continued to bounce. He's got back onto the track behind Metcalf, just in front of Gibbs, who looks like he's lost his tear-offs or whatever it is again. Wow. What a hectic first lap we've had here.
Yeah, what a passage of play there. So I think what we saw was a different mindset for Dean Ferris, who just came charging like a bull for this moto. He wanted to try to make amends from Moto 1, where we possibly didn't quite see the best from him, and he lost a couple of points to Jed Beaton. He's staring down the barrel of losing a heck of a lot more if he doesn't find some form, because there was a couple of rash decisions, shall we say, in this early first lap here.
That was Purvis and Gibbs on screen. They were amongst Walker and Evans back there, 10 through to 13th. So those guys are lots. Have a look at Ferris here. On the outside, the 111, it starts to bounce just here. Things start getting a little ugly, lands in another braking bump, and then it just flicks over the top.
Well, there was any number of times that could have gone pear-shaped, but it didn't until the fourth mishap. So the first one or the second one could have been a big end crash, but it ended up being a relatively small one. But you cannot afford to let Kyle Webster get comfortable on a track like this and on a day like today, where he's come out so fast, fastest in the AMX Superstores pole shootout, and he's come out and decimated the field in Moto1 earlier on in the day, and he looks to be doing the same here.
What has Craig Dack told Luke Clout between Moto1 and Moto2? Because things are different. We saw the intensity out of Clout in Moto1, but it seemed like he started to tighten up. However, he is moving forward at a great rate at the moment. Both the CDR Yamaha Monster Energy bikes are there in contention and looking very good, as we see Beaton just settling himself down into third, but he can't afford to back off that intensity on this opening couple of laps.
Now, well, you know Aaron Tanti, where he is positioned on the track at the moment, and the kind of points that he needs to try to make up, the kind of hard-charging riding that we saw from him at Maitland, trying to get past Dean Ferris. We're going to see more of that from him. He is not in a position in the championship where he can afford to ride around smooth and just settle for positions. So expect to see a hard charge from Aaron Tanti. Will you have a look at the rain coming down? The inside ruts fill up with water and all of a sudden become soggy. That inside line now has developed and come into its own.
I think that's the secret that CDR has put out there. They've looked for some lines because both of them have taken advantage of it. And Clout to the inside, a perfect run and drive out of that turn, has moved himself into the lead. How quickly things can turn around. It is bucketing down.
Oh, wow. And it's almost like the horns have come out of the helmet as the rain has fallen from the sky for Luke Clout. Not the best race from him in Moto1 today. Let's take a look at the replay here by Honda coming into turn one. Luke Clout saw the opening. He knew that pass was made coming onto the straight, and no choice there for Webster but to shut it down and slot there into second place. But he needs to keep onto the back of Clout, or he's going to feel the pressure of Aaron Tanti very, very soon.
It was a nice little bounce there by Luke Clout to get over that the middle two of those rollers. If he can continue to find that momentum, that smoothness, then it's going to be very hard to stop him. It is strange to see how Clout struggled a bit in that first moto and how quickly he has turned it around for this one. And it's a great effort, I must say, and very strong mentally. Oh, goggles off already by Webster.
Goggles off and thrown. So obviously he's got some clear vision now, but that all of a sudden makes things very, very difficult. If he does edge up onto the back of Luke Clout once again, roost becomes a factor. You need to keep those eyes clear, and he does not want to let Aaron Tanti pass. Once again, what a move!
Whoa! That was impressive. That was aggressive. He needed to make that pass. Man, that came out of nowhere. I did not see that. But now maybe it's the vision thing. Now, Lee, you know as well as I do, roll-offs, they're fantastic when you've got sand, you've got a whole heap of pools, you can clear that vision. But if you're in rain and you get water behind that film of your roll-off, it turns into a smudge that you simply cannot see through. Watch this. Look at the aggression of the turn just there by Webster.
And how evasive Luke Clout was to tip it up and miss the bikes coming together. That was brilliant riding from both of their behalves, and it's almost like that pass was scripted from Kyle Webster. He's like, I'm throwing the goggles off here, and what I need to do is make the pass immediately. Are you kidding me? Around the outside goes Luke Clout.
Webster tried to fix up the problem from last time by going to the inside, but that just didn't work.
Clout has got to go close to breaking your spirit.
Dog on a bone at the moment. It's like, nah, I am going to take this position back. Look at the lakes filling up in the middle already. There is a lot of water that has fallen. Again, thankfully, we're in here in this dry, nice, warm weather.
Can you just crank the heater up one notch, please, Danny?
Now it's up to Tanti to try and make some moves. Well, the overall on this for today is going to be something else. Here is that move again. Webster tried to make the inside work. Didn't land really.
Didn't land great. Landed on the face of a bump, and not much you could do about that. You can see Kyle Webster just squinting there, just obviously trying to avoid roost, as well as the rain coming in on 45-degree angle. But will you look at the confidence and the intensity from Luke Clout? He just looks like a different rider from this morning.
He does, 100%. That's what I was trying to make the point. And there you go. There's a pass by Tanti as well. This might be just a vision thing. It's so hard to ride out there when you've got rain pelting you in the face and the eyes. And if you don't have the goggles there, you've got to slow down so that you can see what's going on. And already you're starting to see these bikes slip around on some of these harder surfaces, Lee. And they're starting to use the same line everywhere around the track.
So things definitely haven't settled down at the head of the pack just yet, as Aaron Tanti has slotted up into second place now, and he has plans to try to track down his teammate and current race leader, Luke Clout. Kyle Webster back in third place, just trying to avoid as much roost and as much rain as possible after throwing his goggles off very early in the race. Still 12.5 minutes to go. Well, big moment there for Dean Ferris. Sorry, Kate. And he has been rounded up by Hamish Harwood around the outside, and that all started just, I don't know if you saw that, Danny, on the far left of the screen. It was literally a 90-90 through that acceleration area where he was, not only did he get past, but he was lucky to stay on the bike.
Yeah, no, I missed that completely, Lee. I did see him throw the goggles and get very unsettled at the time. And look, he's reaching up, trying to wipe his own eyes as it's just been filled with dirt.
He slowed right down.
Yeah.
Now, does he have an ongoing problem, or is he back on it at the moment? Because we'll try to pick up what's going on there, because if he has an ongoing drama, we've got major problems here. So let's watch closely out of here as it comes up sideways.
Yeah, so that was very close as well. So go in here, but just a better run through into the corner. Harwood almost going down himself.
Right, back up at the head of the pack, Luke Clout, looking very smooth and calculated. He had his heads for the outside.
It wasn't there bumps there. I didn't see any that time with Clout. What a line.
Yeah, he's just gone and found a very innovative line around the outside, looking great. Past the pit board area once again. Through his favourite line around the outside where he rounded up Kyle Webster, not once but twice.
Yeah. And still got the goggles on, looking very sharp indeed. Clear vision, the key in these kind of conditions. There's only 2.42 minutes left to go in this one. There is Webster, though. He hasn't given up just yet. That bike's still smoking. And Tanti and Beaton, he's still there as well. This is certainly not over and done with just yet.
No, still plenty of racing left to go. And credit to Jed Beaton. He stayed on the back of these guys. His lap times have been good. We have a bit of a look. The last lap around was a 2:19 for Luke Clout. Nobody else anywhere near that. A 2:21 for Webster, 2:21 for Tanti, and a 2:20 for Jed Beaton. And then also a 2:20 for Todd Waters, who's hanging in there in the top 5.
And just flashing on the screen there was those provisional points that you spoke of, Lee, and it is at the moment with Dean Ferris with 1 point lead over Beaton. So Beaton, if he can make a pass here and get himself up 1 or 2 more positions, he will regain that red plate. But I tell you what, he's got some work ahead of him if he wants to try and get around these guys. We've seen already that they put up a massive fight anytime anyone has challenged those positions. And not only that, he is actually dropped back just a fraction here. There he is, just dropping down into the bottom part. Oh, that's
so we just
Clout.
Luke Clout has gone down, so that shuffles things up a little bit. Jed Beaton has a look over the right shoulder before he remounts a challenge onto the back of the CDR Monster Energy Yamaha rider. Let's take a look at the Honda replay.
Front wheel.
A little bit of a kick from the back, and then it was, yeah, just leaned over a little bit too far. Tip over.
Oh, so unfortunate because he was so comfortable out in front. Man, what a terrible way to finish out this race. But, oh, again, a moment there for Aaron Tanti. Just landing a little bit tough. Okay, so across the line, it is Webster, Tanti, Clout, Beaton. Harwood still back there in the back of shot. He's back there in 5th place, so still managing to hold on. Well, actually, he's got himself around Waters as well.
So things shuffle up a little bit on the leaderboard now. Our Thor leaderboard on the left-hand side of the screen. Webster back to the head of the pack. Tanti in 2nd place now, just 1.8 seconds back. Luke Clout in 3rd place, back to Beaton in 4th. Harwood back to Waters, back to Ferris. So as things sit at the moment,
2 wins from 2 starts for Kyle Webster will give him a perfect score of 50 points for the day, and a great job for the Boost Mobile Honda rider. Aaron Tanti back there in second place in this race. He'll be on 44 points and a solid second place overall for the day, and I believe it'll be Jed Beaton who will hold down third.
Yeah, Lee, don't count it over just that. Look at Tanti. He is on fire at the moment. If he gets clear of this lapped rider, there's still a chance that he could battle it for the lead in this, as Webster hasn't had the best of laps through here and has allowed Tanti right onto the back wheel. They will get the last lap board the next time past. Can Tanti make that final charge right at the last minute? Oh, do you see that kick that Webster just got?
Yeah, and likewise, you didn't see it, but Aaron Tanti did also, but just got so caught up behind that lap rider. He thought it was going to go one way, but he went the other, and unfortunately, that's proved very costly. With only about a lap and a half to go, just saw a rider down there and had panic stations for a second.
Webster through the right hand over the tabletop. And he's got a bit of a comfortable gap at the moment over Tanti. Tanti's going to have to do something special through these, some very clean corners, if he wants to mount a charge on this very final lap. There is Clout still in third place. Beaton, where's Beaton? He's dropped back a long way.
He's certainly fallen off the pace ever so slightly. Clout continues to hold on to third place. So 2023 for Gillman is not quite going to be the Cinderella story that it was for Aaron Tanti last year, where we saw the transformation of the season for him, but still nonetheless up in second place on the podium and scoring more points than the bulk of his championship contenders is a great effort, that's for sure. Today is all about Kyle Webster. He has got 1 lap left to go to turn this into the perfect day.
A fantastic effort. Nice little scrub there for him through the mechanics area. Just want to focus your attention to Lee onto the leaderboard on the left. Look what Ferris back in 9th, so that changes the championship as well.
Yes, so once again, it's a 1-point swing the other way. So Jed Beaton will get that red plate back onto his number 14 machine. So provisional championship points.
Yep, right there, the change just happened as he went across the finish line. So not sure what's happened with Ferris. He has dropped back behind Metcalf and Gibbs. A tough day for Ferris, no doubt.
Now, Gillman was tough for Ferris last year in 2022. I wasn't sure if it was going to change for him this year, being on a different bike, but it's proving to be tough once again. Have a look at the smoke coming from that machine.
It was a very brief one. It might have been just some water flicking up, I think, but certainly they've done well to make it all the way through to the end of this one. Webster, for the final time, up to the top part of the circuit. Really just taking his time through there right now, picking those lines, making sure that he's picked everything up nice and early, settling into those ruts. Quick look over the shoulder to see where second place was. He'll be very happy to close this one out.
An amazing job by the Boost Mobile Honda rider as he makes his way towards the checkered flag. Not too far to go now as he tips it into Honda corner. He's still got a nice handy little gap over a very hard charging Aaron Tanti back there in second place, getting all kinds of loose, tipping it into that left-hander. But just a couple of corners to go, Danny Ham for the number 96 machine. The last round was not what he hoped for. A hole in the arm from a stray rock causing surgery. And what a way to bounce back. He was first place in the Super Pole and first place in both motos. Double victory for Kyle Webster and the Boost Mobile Honda machine. And that is how you wrap up a day. What a fantastic job from all of these riders in extremely tough conditions. I've got to say, one of the most impressive aspects of the day is how well this track has handled the weather.
What a day we've had here at Gillman as we look at the Thor MX1 Moto2 results. Of course, Kyle Webster was the victor in this race. Aaron Tanti, very strong second. Unfortunate for Luke Clout back there to third place. Jed Beaton, Hamish Harwood are your top 5.
Kirk Gibbs in 6th place. Todd Waters from Brett Metcalf, the hometown hero. Dean Ferris, not where he wanted to be, in 9th place. And Levi Rogers rounding out the top 10.
Duffy back there in 11th. Purvis moved all the way up to 12th place. Evans, and then a few of the other big names. Wood back there in 17th. Liam Jackson we've seen with a good result at the mud round as well. He's back there in 20th.
Jed Beaton on the Boost Mobile Honda, you've regained the championship lead. Well done, P3 for the round today. Talk us through your race and that crazy rainstorm that came down.
Yeah, it was a decent race. Got off to a better start in this one than the first moto, so that made it a little bit easier. And then, I don't know, the first few laps took a while to find the lines. The track changed a lot from the first moto, so yeah, sort of started to get comfortable, and then it just started torrential rain. So I mean, it threw a spanner in the works for everyone, but all in all, we got through it, and yeah, like you said, now we've got the championship lead again. So yeah, for me, it's a really great weekend, also for the team. Obviously, you mentioned on the line that I've been struggling a little bit lately, so since Maitland, the team put in a huge effort to try and help me get more and more comfortable. So I think we've made a good step, and we're in the right direction now, so looking forward to the next rounds.
Well, we'll see you in Toowoomba.
Thank you.
And in P2 for the round, the CDR Yamaha Monster Energy, Aaron Tanti, some really important championship points for you, and a pretty hard charge at the end there too.
Yeah, this weekend was really good for the championship for me. You know, I beat all the guys in front of me and I roped in a lot of points. So, yeah, it definitely puts me back in the game after a rough start of the year, and, you know, happy to get out of here and stay in one piece after that torrential rain. It was pretty gnarly out there. You know, me and Webby battled, we switched positions. Yeah, we come together a few times, but it was good fun, and, yeah, glad to come out of here on the podium again.
Yeah, well done.
Thank you.
And the winner of the round with some pretty red eyes right now, Kyle Webster on the Boost Mobile Honda. You took a perfect weekend. How was that race for you? Because you weren't wearing any goggles and the conditions were pretty feral.
Yeah, that was wild. It once it started raining there, it really started coming down. So the vision wasn't that good. Had a few sort of average laps there in the middle, and the boys got around me, and I guess once it sort of stopped raining, I could kind of see a little bit again. So yeah, just managed to work my way back, and Luke made a mistake there towards the end, and yeah, it just feels nice to be back up here. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a tough first half of the year. Everybody, give it up for Kyle Webster.
Well, what an amazing win there for Boost Mobile Honda rider Kyle Webster. Well, make sure you join us June the 25th as we head to the hilly and picturesque Toowoomba circuit in Queensland for round 6 of the Penrite Oils ProMX Championship, brought to you by AMX Superstores, where we start the first half of 3 consecutive Queensland rounds. We've also got rounds 5 and 6 of the Yamaha Australian Off-Road Championships, presented by MX Store at Edenhope in Victoria, close to the South Australian border. This will take place July 22nd and 23rd. And while you're at it, make sure you lock in round 4 of the My Bike Motorcycle Insurance Australian Superbike Championship, presented by Moto2, as it heads next to Hidden Valley Raceway in Darwin on the 16th to the 18th of June. Make sure you hop online and get your tickets. Well, Gillman never fails to impress, and what a day of racing we've seen here in the City of Churches for round 5 of the Penrite Oils ProMX Championship, brought to you by AMX Superstores. On behalf of Danny Ham, Kay Peck and myself, Lee Hogan, thanks for your company. We next head to Toowoomba in Queensland for round 6 of the championship, June the 25th, for the penultimate round. So be sure to join us and check the website for details. Goodbye for now.